theater criticism. Here we go. To read, I don't know. What can we read? Al Jazeera. Yeah, let's read Al Jazeera. And breaking news says Iran's Arakshi. Iran does not seek ceasefire, will continue to defend itself. Trump says allies who rely on Gulf oil must keep Hormuz Strait open. Well, I guess I read this. Iran says U.S.-Israel attacks have killed more than 200 children. I'm going to make to read this, breaking this live updates. Look. I'm going to read it till the end. Live updates. Iran's Arakshi says ready for a long war. Israel pounds South Lebanon by Elis Gevori and Said Sabah. Here we go, yeah. Because earlier I didn't did that. I just read the balance, the terrible scores. Al Jazeera is saying Iran only killed 15 people. So I guess Palestinians were right after all. Killing more than I don't remember the number, 100, and I don't remember, but it was a forever text saying how many Israelis Palestinians killed. It was like 1,856, something like that. It was an impressive number. Far more than 15. But I guess Iran is right again, I guess, because life doesn't matter. Yeah, lives could be important for somebody, for the citizen, but or maybe is what Iranian people can do, is what the Palestine people could do. Almost nothing, huh? Hamas is ready again. Anyway, let's go. The United States and Israel continue their attacks on Iran with missiles, striking multiple sites across the central Isfahan province. Dozens have been reported killed. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says Tehran never saw a ceasefire with the US and is ready for a long war. Iran launches multiple barrages of missiles at Israel and claims attacks on US bases in Iraq and Kuwait, which says the radar system at its international airport has been damaged. US President Donald Trump says the Iranians have reached out to him for a deal, but that the terms, quote-unquote, aren't good enough yet. The death toll from Israeli attacks on Lebanon has risen to 850, while the number of those displaced has climbed to 831,000. Oh, such suffering for Lebanese and Palestinian people. In a minute, what? 1 minute ago, right here in Chile is 8 p.m. 8 p.m. 34 minutes. And what about Qatar? Saudi Arabia says 6 drones intercepted, destroyed in eastern province. Saudi Arabia's defense ministry says its forces have intercepted and destroyed 6 drones in the kingdom's eastern province. 6 minutes ago, Qatari Prime Minister and Saudi Foreign Minister condemned Iran attacks and called demand cessation of escalation. Qatar's Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani has held a phone conversation with Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan bin Abdullah Al Salman. Such big names. According to a statement by Qatar's foreign ministry, the two top officials discussed the military escalation in the region and its serious repercussions on regional and international security and stability. Quote, both sides reiterated their condemnation of the unjustified Iranian attacks on the state of Qatar, the kingdom of... Well, Al Jazeera is talking about Qatar, state of Qatar, the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and a number of other sisterly countries. It said, quote, they stress in this context the need for an immediate cessation of all escalatory actions, a return to the negotiating table, the prioritization of reason and wisdom, and working to contain the crisis in a way that preserves the security of the region, end quote. 15 minutes ago, IRGC naval chief says Kharg Island attack will create new equation for energy prices. You know what I don't understand about the Kharg Island is what's the role this island plays in anything logistics. I tried to understand watching a TikTok video, but I didn't. IRGC Naval Commander Ali Reza Tangsiri has warned that a U.S. attack on Iran's Kharg Island will create a new and harsh equation for energy prices and distribution around the world. His comments on a social media post come after Trump yesterday warned of more attacks on the island, home to the main terminal handling Iran's oil exports, after previously saying it had bombed military installations on it. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Iran will respond to any attack on its energy facilities. He also took exception to the US President's comments. Quote, this is an illegal war with no victory. There are people being killed only because President Trump wants to have quote-unquote fun. The truth is, President Trump's trying to change the subject. He's changing the subject, and it won. This is what he has said, end quote. I actually told CBS 26 minutes ago, quote unquote, nobody wants to be seen as directly entering the war. Such a view, isn't it? Valparaiso, Cordillera Hill. And the next one is Playa Ancha. So we are in Cordillera. We're watching the limits of Playa Ancha, I guess. All we saw is Playa Ancha, but we are in Cordillera. Do you got it? Maybe it's one of the cities with the bigger number of hills. nobody wants to be seen as directly entering the war. We have spoken to Charles Kupchan, Senior Fellow at the Council of Foreign Relations and former Senior Director for European Affairs at the U.S. National Security Council under the Obama administration about the potential challenges for international coalitions seeking to secure safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. New live update available, and quote unquote, nobody wants to be seen as directly entering the war. This is a war that is quite unpopular in many allied countries across Europe. Nobody wants to jump into the deep end of the pool, end quote, he told Al Jazeera. Guptian highlighted issues such mind clearing as one of the main reasons behind the caution of potential members of such an alliance. Quote unquote, the Strait of Hormuz is narrow and shallow. The Iranians can take shots at ships from their coastline. They can use submersibles. They can use naval drones and of the sort that we have seen the Ukrainians use quite effectively against the Russians, end quote, he said. Naval drones, reflecting on earlier attempts for a change in Iran ruling system. He said the current establishment is, quote unquote, probably the one that the US is, quote unquote, going to have to negotiate with or to try to end this conflict, end quote. He added, it's a regime that has enormous staying power, very deep roots, broad institutions. It's not likely going anywhere anytime soon, end quote. Let's read and there you have the beautiful view. Beautiful view. I hope some beautiful photo I take. He added, quote, it's a regime that has enormous staying power, very deep roots, broad institutions, and it's not likely going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, Iran. 38 minutes ago now, I'm going to read the new live update. 3 minutes ago, what? Israeli-US, quote-unquote, war of choice represents, quote-unquote, existential threat to Iran's government by Mohammed Val, reporting from Tehran, Iran. There is no change in the course of action here in Iran or the philosophy of this war. They believe this is a war of aggression that has been imposed on Iran. If this is a war of choice for the Americans and Israelis, for the Iranians, it is a war of necessity, an existential war. So they believe they have no choice but to continue fighting. Yeah, exactly. Well, I will take a plane to China. The fact that every 2 or 3 days they reveal a new type of missile, like the hypersonic missiles, which they say were used for the first time today at 15 times the speed of sound against Israel, is also a statement that Iran still holds many cards in this fight. The foreign minister also spoke about the Strait of Hormuz, which has become a key talking point in the competing narratives around this war. The Americans say world powers should come together to defeat the Strait of Hormuz and seek to portray Iran as acting against the interests of the region and the international community. Iran has its own narrative. They say the Strait of Hormuz is not closed. It is closed only to American and Israeli ships and tankers, and to entities like linked to they describe as war of aggression against Iran. Let's try to find the 1 hour ago, but the 1 hour ago. But I have no more time here. I will run now. No global appetite for another imperial war by Marwal Bichara. You know, one thing I have noticed is that, with the exception of Israel, no one really supports this war. Not many countries have condemned the war. A lot of them oppose it, but out of fear of American retaliation, they decided not to condemn it. There is no appetite for another imperial war like the 2003 Iraq war. There is no appetite even in the United States for another 20 years in entanglement like Afghanistan, or for regime change like in Libya or Iraq, because each and every one of those disasters led to huge repercussions in the region and beyond. People forget that attempts at regime change, attempts at those wars of choice, those forever wars, led not only to disasters during the wars but also after them. Those who complain about Al-Qaeda, those who complain about the Houthis, those who complain about Hezbollah and Hamas, those who complain about ISIL don't realize that most of these, if not all of them, are byproducts of wars and invasions. So this war will also have its own byproducts moving forward if it does not end quickly. Already we are seeing the disaster unfolding in Iran. The displacement of millions of people, the crippling of trade and energy flows, all of which are leading to further instability and violence. And that's it. I cannot agree more. I cannot stop printing this article. This article is genius. Yeah, nice article.